Welcome to Switch Comics. My name is Marco, and we are back with another Trending 20 tier list. So this, again, the list is off of Key Collector. Every week they have a Trending 20, and I was super excited to get into this one, seeing that this is the week after, a bunch of comics are moving around from all the SDCC announcements, trailers, and whatnot. So let's go ahead and hop into it. We have some interesting books, starting off with X-Men 200, which is... Okay, weird. It didn't move. Anyway, X-Men 200, and again, this list is like, if it's at the top here, it's something that I think you should definitely be buying. If it's at the bottom, it's overpriced, overhyped, stay away from it, and then you got some stuff in the middle. So, and if you watched the last episode also, most of the stuff wasn't overpriced. If it's in the Trending 20, good bit of knowledge is it's too late. You've missed the train. So this one is hyped up because it is the issue where Magneto takes over Xavier's school, and then also it's got that costume that they are going to be using in the new animated X-Men, continuation. I think this comic is great news if you've been sitting on it, and if you're like, for me, like, you're at a comic shop, or you have a comic shop and it's just a book that's been sitting in your bin, and now people are going to want it. I think at the long run, this is not going to be anything that's more than maybe a $15 book. Probably, I can't imagine it really doing anything too crazy. With anything that I say on here, I could be wrong. I think there will be general more interest in this. So when you pick up an X-Men collection, this will be an easier book to move. If not for anything, just because people will be more familiar with this costume of Magneto and be like, you know what, actually I think that's cool, I want to get it. So I will put it in not great. I wouldn't be out there buying a bunch, but you know what, I think it will sell a little easier than it had before. And then up next we have Avengers 41, and then let's see, so this is stuff with Kang. It's a part 1 of 16 issue titled Kang Dynasty. Okay, so it's the beginning of Kang Dynasty. Okay. And, that's the new movie. I think with books like these that are event books, like we've seen with Armor Wars, which, by the way, I have no idea what's going on with Armor Wars, but I'm just starting that, for example. Nothing really happened with any of the Armor Wars books. They might have gone up a little bit, but nothing significant, because the books themselves don't say Armor, the title isn't Armor Wars. And so when it's just an Avengers book and it's a series, or like an event that in the series that is Armor Wars or this, that, or whatever, in this situation, Kang Dynasty, I don't really see it doing anything. I'll put it in not great as well. Like, I don't think it's... Again, I just feel like this book may sell a little easier if it's something that's in your shop, or if you're selling eBay and you just have backstock of stuff, or even like if you do mystery boxes. Now this might be something that you could put in a mystery box and somebody might be like, "Ooh, neat," be a little excited. Where before, if I got this out of mystery box, I'd be like, But yeah, nothing crazy. Not loving any of these so far. And then up next is Avengers 268, and this is story called The Kang Dynasty. So just another Kang Dynasty thing. Yeah, this one's seen a massive increase, a 1,700% increase. The last book was a 1,900% increase, and the book before that was actually 2,400% increase. So a lot of these, when you see these big numbers like this, it just goes to show you that these books have no popularity right now. Well, I mean, not now, but like before the announcements, they had nothing going for them. So the fact that people are buying them... Oh, all right, I cut myself off because I dropped my phone on my keyboard and screwed everything up. But we are back. So yeah, when you see these huge increases in prices, or not prices, but in interest in books, it just kind of means that it didn't really have anything going for it beforehand, which sometimes can be good, more so if you just happen to have it. If you bought this beforehand thinking it could be something good, and I don't think you're going to get a huge return on it, but again, like, it's going to move easier. A little bit might be a little more exciting to receive in a mystery box or something like that, but ultimately it's not going to be any big thing that people are really going to be looking for. And moving up next, I feel very much the same way. Actually, I feel a bit worse on this one. So here we have Daredevil 227, which is the beginning of the Born Again thing. And even though it's kind of the same thing, I do actually feel worse about this one. I kind of want to put it in overpriced. I have seen the prices on these, and in fairness, I haven't looked up the prices on everything. And Key Collector has prices next to it, but they don't really mean anything because they are very far from being updated. However, I was curious and I looked that one up when the title was announced. The show, and I think these books are going for like $40, and I think that's just insane. Like, it's. I think that the title for the series Born Again, or for the show, I should say rather, is more so less to do with the actual comic run and more just kind of a play on, Daredevil's Born Again into the MCU. This storyline was basically the storyline of the last season, and it would just feel very weird for them to do something so close to that again. I think there's a lot more moving parts, a lot more things happening in the MCU. There's no reason for them to rehash this storyline. You saw when they brought back in Spider-Man, they didn't rehash his origin or anything. I don't think they're going to do this route with Daredevil. So yeah, I think this is just going to be, just kind of have the same name. And again, it's not like the series name of the comic is Born Again. It's just Daredevil, and I don't know. I don't feel super strong about that one. I feel like there's a lot of Daredevil hype, and some of it's probably going in the wrong way as far as like if you want to make sound purchases for comics. Up next, we have Advanced Dungeons and Dragons 1. So this is the very first ongoing comic book for Dungeons and Dragons. I actually have yet to watch the trailer. I've heard good things, and I am excited, and probably will end up watching it. I think this has the potential just because we had what was that other show that did really well? My God, I can't remember. It had that song with Imagine Dragons, I think, and Jid. I think that's who that song was. I only remember the Jid part, if I'm going to be honest. But anyway, that song kind of blew up, or not song, that TV show kind of blew up, and I think threw everyone by surprise. And I think Dungeons and Dragons sits in this unique spot where it's not super explored culturally. It is, for many, many years was the super nerd thing. And it, in many ways, I think still is. I think there's a lot of comic fans, might be all about, because it kills me. There's so many people that are like, read comics and do all this and that or whatever, and they're like, oh, Dungeons and Dragons, or anime, or whatever that they're not interested in. People always act like they're better than someone else. That being said, I feel like Dungeons and Dragons are a little bit farther into the nerd spectrum, and I think this maybe has a potential to become more prominent and be more interesting to people. At least even if people don't want to play the game, because I can see that not being for everyone. I can see a lot more people being interested in the lore and the stories and the characters. And on top of that, obviously Stranger Things is huge right now. Big involvement with Stranger Things and D&D. So I think there might actually be potential for this book. I think, probably a lot of people hopping onto it right now. Might not be the best time. Maybe wait a little bit. But I am excited to see where that goes. And then moving on, we have Tales of Suspense 94. And this is the first appearance of MODOK. This is the first big book on the list. I don't think... I could be wrong. I would highly doubt MODOK to go past this movie. I think he's going to be a one and done. I'm going to put him in not great because it is a good book to have. Any of these old classic books, it's already an established key. That being said, once the movie's over with and done, I doubt that anybody will really care. MODOK's never really had a huge fan base. He's a fun enemy to have from time to time, but it's not anything that people desire super often. So then moving on to Black Panther 1. So this is the first team appearance of the Dora Milaje. So It says Okoye and Nakia. Is that their first appearance too? It's a little weird, the wording on this. Let's see. And then also says first appearance of Zuri, and has had, so, like, if we look at this, that's a 767% increase, which is one of, significantly lower than the other ones we've been looking at. But that just goes to prove that this book like had some interest before it, with it being the first Black Panther solo series. Or sorry, not first, it being the first. Dora Milaje. Like, it's already an established key. I think there's got a lot of moving things that will make the Dora. Well, they're already awesome, but I think there's a lot more things that will make them even cooler moving forward. I do believe there's an Okoye series popping up. Obviously, we have the Black Panther movie. I think this is probably an okay key with kind of an already established price. I don't think it's going to go up crazy, but if you can get a good price on it, I think this is maybe probably a good book to own. But as with most of these things, nothing's going to be super crazy good investments, I don't think. It was crazy that I had one indecent last time. I don't think I may never have one indecent ever again, just because the way the trending 20 list is, it's like, again, you're probably too late on it. So then we have Black Panther number 8. This is the first appearance of Anika, I'm going to say, and it's the lead trainer of the Dora Milaje, and a Midnight Angel. I'm unfamiliar with the Midnight Angels, and it's just saying that okay, she has been cast for the second Black Panther movie. But will this be a significant character? It's so hard for me. I really don't know what to expect a lot with the Black Panther movie. You have a lot of moving things. Obviously, we'll have Namor we'll talk about later on this list, I'm sure. But then, like I said, we don't know who's going to be Black Panther. I think everyone's crossed M'Baku off the list because his physique just does not match the little snippet we've seen. Personally, I would love for it to be Okoye. Don't really think it will be. I say this because I think she's just the best actress in the whole thing. I think she would absolutely kill it. However, especially with her getting her own series supposedly later, I don't think it would be her. That'll probably, if she were to become Black Panther, I don't think her series would become Okoye. Now, granted, it could just be, I guess you could say it's being called Okoye now, but will be a Black Panther series. But I also don't really think that'll happen. I think it'll someone else will be Black Panther. It could be Shuri. It could be Nakia. It could be, I don't know. People want Killmonger to come back. I'm not sure. But yeah, are they really going to introduce? Because we already have like Ayo that was in Falcon and Winter Soldier, which seems like she's going to be doing some stuff. Popping out of Wakanda, doing some things theoretically. Is this trainer going to be anyone significant? I'm going to put it at here, I guess. Not great. I don't think it'll probably end up being anything super special. Now, moving on to Avengers 267. So this is the first Council of Kings, which I think is an interesting book. There's a lot of Kang books. Obviously, you have your first Kang, Avengers 8, but then you go into first Immortus or first Ramatut, first Council of Kangs, and it kind of gets divided. And everyone knows like Avengers 8 is the big book, but then I don't really think there's not really a definitive ranking. I don't think other than just age and scarcity on books. But as far as like what do we think is going to be showing up, and I think there's a good shot we might actually see Council of Kangs. I think this book probably has an opportunity because we have seen it pop off a little bit before, even just on baseless speculation. Or actually, I guess there was that little thing in the Loki show where we saw a couple of Kangs in a hologram thing. I don't know what to call it. But I do think we'll be getting a full Council of Kangs, and I'm actually really excited to see that. I think I'm really excited to see Jonathan Majors play all these different types of Kangs, and then also to have them all together, I think could be a lot of fun. So then moving on to Namor the Submariner number 1. So this is the 6th solo series, so that's not the push on it. It's the first appearance of Phoebe Mars. Is that a character? It doesn't say if that's going to be in the movie or anything. I don't know anything about this, and it's the 6th. God, that doesn't feel good to me. That feels really bad. unless Phoebe Mars is some crazy character that I don't know about. I've heard about some other characters, and I don't really know that much about Namor and stuff. I honestly could not have cared less about Namor before this movie. I think Namor looks super cool in the movie, though, and I'm actually really excited for him. I think his design looks incredible. But before this, I could not have cared less about Namor. So then, moving on to Ghost Rider 28, we have, this is the first appearance of the Nine, also known as the Midnight Suns. And yeah, I guess the full team name. First appearance of caretaker Lilith. That's a significant one. Meat Market. Oh my God, lots of speculation here. So I really want them to do some Midnight Sun stuff. I don't think this is a super expensive book. I think it could be a pretty cool one. That, again, there's no like real confirmation, it's just real speculation, and I feel like this is a bit better. Like the stuff that's confirmed, like once you confirm King Dynasty or Daredevil Born Again, like I feel like you've probably lost out. But when things are speculative, not always, but I feel like there is a little bit more hope. Again, you've missed your opportunity. You know, you should have got this at $1 bin years ago. That would have been when you really got good. I would like to see Lilith. Will we get Lilith? I don't know, but I think Lilith is a pretty cool character. I'm going to put this one fine. I feel like, again, just kind of wait for the dips on things. Because just because I'm putting them in fine doesn't mean, like, buy them right now. It means, like, look out for these, you know? I think this is a book that if I were to see maybe 3 months from now, maybe nobody's talking about Midnight Suns again, and I can get it for a pretty good price, then snatch onto it. But like right now, I wouldn't be going after it. But it does at least pique my interest. So then moving on to Secret Wars 1, and this is where it changes up, because Secret Wars is the title. And if you think back to like the other big things, so we have like Infinity Gauntlet, which I know isn't the title of the movie, but still very iconic cover. Not a super expensive book, but one that people still want. People love getting that book. And Civil War, people still like Civil War. Again, not anything that people are like going crazy for, nothing that are huge books, but remind them of these awesome events and just comic storylines also in general. You know, with this one, I don't think it's as iconic as like Infinity Gauntlet, the cover. You know, a nice cover by Assad Ribic still, but I will put this in fine. I think, you know, maybe, again, wait, kind of just take your time, be patient with it. Oh, there's one that's a pretty good price. All right, grab it, you know. Maybe, you know, we still got some number of years until Secret Wars comes out. So, you know, you might be able to see some profit off it. I wouldn't think anything super crazy. You know, maybe if you think you can get some graded at a really good grade, then possibly, you know, you might be able to make a little bit more money in that way. Then moving on to Secret Wars 3, this is the first appearance of Volcana and the second Titania, which is the one that is She-Hulk's enemy, frenemy, I guess. You know, they go on and off, I guess. They like to fight. But anyway, I know that she's going to be in the She-Hulk show, and the She-Hulk show is the closest thing coming out. So this is probably done. I also don't think, you know, I don't think Titania is going to be anything super important. Yeah, I'll probably go ahead and put this in. We're just way too close. Like, if you have one of these, just try to sell it now. I don't think Titania is going to be... I'm excited to see the character, but I don't think it's going to be anything super revolutionary, you know? Or anything like, oh, I'm a huge Titania fan now. Like, maybe, you know, I never know. But, you know, we'll see. I'm more personally excited for Frogman. I'm hoping we get some Frogman love up in here. But moving on, so we have Spawn Batman #1. And so this is the very first Spawn Batman crossover made by McFarlane, of course. And so at SDCC, they announced something with Jim Lee and Todd McFarlane doing a upcoming crossover. I can't see, you know, if like there was a movie coming out, I could see maybe people wanting to hop onto this book. I don't think it's a terrible thing, but I'm gonna put it in not great. Anytime, like, comics themselves can make comics go up in value. It is possible. You'll see, ooh, this person's going to be in a storyline. Like recently with the Iron Cat series, there was that Tamara something, I can't remember her last name. Her first appearance, has gone up, but it's not a book that people are going crazy for. If anything, I feel like it's more so a book that people are excited that has been sitting in their back issues and they can maybe sell it for a little bit now. So moving on to Hulk 449, first appearance of the Thunderbolts. We got the Thunderbolts movie coming. It is a long way out still. I think this book has pretty much peaked. I could be wrong. I think people are excited. I'm very excited for the Thunderbolts. However, I mean, this is already a fairly pricey book. And I don't, see it shooting up too much more than that. Again, it's not... It says, like, introducing the Thunderbolts or something, but it also has them getting... has Mach 1 getting absolutely demolished by Hulk here. Also, important to note, Mach 1 is probably not going to be any Thunderbolt that we have in the show. Or the movie, sorry. And so, I think there's too many differences that aren't going to make this book super, super valuable. But that being said, I think there is a lot of interest in the Thunderbolts. I think, people are wondering, is it going to be Marvel's Suicide Squad? Is it going to be more like the comics? I mean, to a degree, you can't do it like the comics, because in the comics originally, the Thunderbolts are actually all villains that are posing as heroes. But if you just can't do that, kind of like with Jane Foster Thor, it's some number of issues. It's not until like issue 8, I think, until we realize it is Jane Foster, which you can easily do in the comics. Mainly because you're not hearing their voice, she's got a mask covering most of her face and stuff like that. So we don't know. But once you have, Zemo talking in the MCU, then it's like, okay, we know that, what was his name? Something V, Citizen V. It's like, that sounds a lot like Zemo, and it's like, you just can't pull that trick in live action quite as well. So yeah, I don't think it'll grow too much more. How did that go down there? Oh, no, I'm good. I'm tripping. All right. And then we have Secret Wars 10. So this, I think, has some interesting things going on with it. One, it being a Secret Wars book. Also, it having a fairly iconic Doctor Doom cover. One that I'm not crazy about, but I'm also not the biggest Doctor Doom guy. I know my brother really likes this cover, and he's a big Doctor Doom guy. I think he has this book. I can't remember. But anyway, it's one of the books that I think people like to buy already before. So I think that a lot of speculation, when is Doom coming, on top of it being a Secret Wars book, on top of it being a cover that a lot of people seem to like. I think this will see some continuous growth, and it might not be financial growth, but like I said, might just be growth of interest, which can be a valuable thing that I don't think people really realize. You can have a book that's worth $1 million, but if nobody cares, then what's the point? If you can't sell it, then and you get a lot of people. Again, I've talked extensively about why is the comic market crashing and stuff like that, and I think it's people not realizing, it's not as easy as, okay, my Hulk 449, we got the confirmation Thunderbolts, but now why is nobody buying my book? Well, it's because there's a million other people trying to sell their book right now, and there's, when you have, what's it called? No, God, it's a simple concept and I lost it entirely. Supply and demand. There we go. I want to say demand and profit. Anyway, when you have supply and demand, if you just have an oversaturated market, it's going to be hard for you to sell your book. However, I think this one already having interest, having multiple things that are pushing it forward, I think this makes it a more interesting book in the fact that I think it will sell faster. Also, the fact that it, isn't a super expensive book, I think, definitely helps with it as well. So then moving on to, Thor 134. We have, this is the first appearance of the High Evolutionary, which is going to be in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. First appearance of Man-Beast. First appearance of Fafnir? I don't know. I'm going to say that. Introduction of Wundagore Mountain, which is, that's pretty interesting. A lot of cool things going on in this book. I am pretty excited for the High Evolutionary, being played by, I can't remember the actor's name, but the guy that played, well, slight spoiler, was a butterfly thing in Peacemaker, which I thought he did awesome. I thought he was a really good actor. Um, Big book though. This is a pricey book. It is an old Thor book. I'm gonna put it here in not great. I think it is a cool book to add to your collection. I don't think High Evolutionary is probably going to be past the third Guardians movie. Most villains don't last past their one movie that they're in. This one I think is going to be super important to Rocket. I'm really excited. Guardians 2 is one of my favorite MCU movies. And a part of that is, like Yondu and Rocket's relationship and exploring, their character. And so to get a chance to explore Rocket's history now is, I think, going to be super, super interesting. That being said, it is a pricey book too if you were wanting to invest into it, and I don't see it, long term doing anything super crazy. I think it will stay a good book because it has been a good book. But that being said, after Guardians 2 or 3, I don't think too many people are going to care about it. Berserker 1, I was thinking about this one before, and I still don't really know. So let's see. Let me read this list again. So it is optioned for a film and 2 seasons on Netflix as an anime series, and then has the director of the Batman that is going to write the live action film for Netflix. My big thing with this, due to Keanu Reeves appearing in a Berserker panel, at SDCC. My big thing with Berserker is it is a grossly overprinted book. If you don't know, with the number 1 issue in particular, they really pushed the sales on it because I think there was 2 different 1 in 50s, 2 different 1 in 100s, might have been 2 different 1 in 25s. I can't remember. But then the big one was a 1 in 1,000 signed by Keanu Reeves. So there's a lot of places that were ordering way, way more than they needed just to get that 1 in 1,000 and sell that and make their profit off that book, and then have a heap of other books that they could do something with, try their best to sell. So, but that being said, in general, also at our comic shop, it's one of our best-selling books, which is good, but also not great because, again, the print run is just huge on this thing. You got a lot of interest from people that, we have people with pull lists that don't have any other book other than, oh, I heard Keanu Reeves is having a book, so let me put that on my pull list. And yeah, also they do they do an A and a B, and then they repeat those covers in a C and a D, but they're foil. And the print run on this book is just astounding. So I really have any faith, or have trouble finding any faith, rather, that this book will ever really see anything. I think, you might see some interesting things happen with this. I know the second and third printing were a bit more limited. Actually, well, significantly more limited, I should say. And so you might see some value in books like those. But the first print, for me, I can't do it. I just don't believe in this book. I haven't believed in this book since it came out. I said that even if this series pops off, and there's the show and the movie, and they're great and everything, I just can't see this being super great. Also, I haven't been loving the series. I think the series is fine. The issues are really thin, and not a lot happens issue to issue. I feel like the story kind of drags. Despite it being good, it kind of drags. So we're almost done here. We have Savage She-Hulk #1, first appearance of She-Hulk. Obviously, about to get She-Hulk here pretty soon in the Disney Plus show. I'm very excited for the show. Have been very excited for the show. I think this recent trailer scene, her breaking the fourth wall and the comedy in it, and I love the little scenes like when Titania busts into the, what's it called? I almost said prison. Whoops, smacked the microphone. The courtroom, and you see Jennifer Walters, taking her shoes off, and she's like, "Oh, I really like this suit," and then has to bust out into She-Hulk and destroy her suit. To me, that is classic She-Hulk stuff, and it's super fun. I love where you're at this point where it's I'm not scared because I have to fight a villain and people are in danger. It's just that, oh, my suit, it's goofy, it's funny, And I can't wait for it. I've also been really enjoying the current She-Hulk comic run. I think has been a lot of fun. That being said, you're too late for this book. You are entirely too late for this book. Probably going to put it overpriced. I expect to see a significant drop on this book after the series is over. If you have it, sell it. Go ahead and start selling it. If that's what you want to do. If you don't want to keep this book, I have this book, and I'm going to keep this book because I like it. But yeah, I don't see any huge... not until like she joins the new Avengers roster or something like that, then you might see this book jump up again. But I think it will be a little while. Unless this... See, that's the thing. Like, even if the series is like the best thing anyone's ever watched, I just don't, historically, it just will go down after the show. And the last book we have is Sacred Heart. Number 1, it's an SDCC exclusive. This one had an interesting little thing I read on it. So, obtained by approaching writer Matt Kent at SDCC and saying, I hear you have something for me. And I don't know if then you had to pay for it or if this book was free. I don't know. Let me quickly go to eBay and check this book out and see what this thing is selling for. It is selling for a ludicrous amount of money. Let's see. Well, I don't have it on sold, but like the listed one right there was like $400. That is crazy because Key Collector had it at something insane. However, I'd be without a ton of knowledge. Yeah, there's like one sold for 600, 500, 500. Yeah, this book is crazy. However, I don't know like the print run. Like, is this thing super limited? How many people knew to walk up to him and say those special words? Anytime there's a book. Also, I don't even know what Sacred Heart is. It's a Bad Idea comic, but I know nothing about it. But anything that is limited and hard to get, I think it has an interesting story of how to get it. But again, did a million... I know this is a crazy number, but did 1 million people walk up and get this book? Did 200 people get this book? I don't know the answer. Did 10 people? So without that knowledge right now, I'm going to put it in not great because I do think even though the prices now are probably crazy, I think a book like this that has a unique story and is limited, I think can hold value. But I don't see it necessarily being like an investment. But I do think it is something that is pretty interesting and definitely a conversation starter. Especially, I guess, if you got it yourself from Matt Kent is a pretty cool thing to have in your collection. So yeah, here we are with our top 20 for this week after SDCC. Nothing in the buy now or decent. Like I said before, probably never will see anything in here ever again. I put 1 in decent last time, and it's because a book that I strongly believe in and is very hard to find and blah, blah, blah. But anyway, so this is what we have. I said last time. But anyway, this is what we have this time. Interesting mix of books here. Like I said, the ones that I put here in fine, I think are ones that, for the most part, had interest beforehand and will continue to have interest. I think there's a lot of things here that, like Midnight Suns or the Council of Kangs, Doctor Doom, that aren't confirmed but have people interested, and with that curiosity will drive sales and make these things a little bit more easy to move. But again, as always, I'd love to know what you think in the comments. Do you think that I'm wrong? Do you believe in a certain book that I don't? Or do you think all of these should be in the overpriced column? It would be hard to actually argue with that. Because again, if you're seeing it on the trending 20 list, you are probably too far gone. Good news though, if it was a book that you already owned. But that is going to be it for this week, and I will see you next time.